Welcome to Montessori Matters with Blessing Fort-Ike. In this video, I discuss how to practice the Montessori method of teaching and learning at home. To practice the Montessori method of teaching and learning at home or anywhere at school, you must be open-minded, you must be eager to unlearn, you must be eager to learn and relearn. Why? Because the Montessori method is totally different from the traditional way of teaching. Hence, you must be open-minded. So I will just go to the first tips. The first tip I want to give in this video. The first one is, I will say, organize your home to encourage independence. One of the fundamental principles of Montessori is independence. We want the child to be independent. So, what do? We must organize our environment to welcome independence. The first thing we'll do, I will tell you that for you to practice it at home, get step stools in the kitchen and in the restroom. So that your child can independently use the restroom. And afterward, wash his or her hands. Then, talking about the kitchen, you need the steps to be able to wash his or her plate independently if it's not as tall as the sink. That is one way to create independence at home. Another way you can do it is you go to their wardrobe. You arrange the wardrobe in such a way that they can pick clothes for themselves. So you can put it into 3 compartments or whatever, how many compartments you want. Let me just give you an example. You can have compartment for outing clothes, compartment for home clothes, and compartment for sleeping clothes. So the child is able to independently go take his clothes. When you are going out, the child knows the box or the compartment to pick from. When you are at home, the child knows. And you can further explain to them the kind of clothes to wear at different season or different weather. Or when it's hot, these are the such and such clothes you should put on. And when it's cold, this is what you should put on. By so doing, you are empowering the child to independently pick clothes for his or herself. Another way you can do this is to carve a learning area or a learning room for your child. So this room or the area must be free from distraction, any form of distraction, TV, gadget, anything that will distract the child from learning must not be close to the environment or the corner where you want to put your child learning material. Or learning materials. That's the first thing you must do. The next thing you need to do is declutter and restructure. You have to declutter and restructure your learning materials. Let's say probably you have a lot of materials, a lot of toys at home, and now you want to practice the Montessori method. You need to declutter, and so that you'll be able to know the right material to invest on. So when I say decluttering, you can do it with your children. If you have older children, you can do the decluttering and the restructuring with them. The first thing you do is that you sort out the learning materials into 3 groups. The first one is a damaged material. Will be in this one. While the other one is the boss, maybe the ones that they have outgrown, like see in a good condition, but probably they've outgrown it, or probably they've gotten the concept you want them to get from the material, so it's no longer useful to them. So you drop it in that box. Then the third box is materials that are still good and age appropriate. You put it there in the third box. So what you do is that you trash the ones that are damaged. Then the ones that are still of good quality but are not age appropriate for your children, you can give them out or resell. Then the third one is the one that is age appropriate and is still in good condition. That is what you are meant to use. So what you do, you get a low shelf to display those materials. So when you see it, you will know if you need to invest in some more or you need to rotate the ones you have. Maybe you still have more than enough. So what you do, you rotate those materials for use. How do you rotate the materials? Let me say, because in Montessori, we encourage fewer toys, we call it material learning tools. You can call it toys. Why we call it learning tools? Because any toy that we get for our children, we make sure it's hitting a particular goal. It's teaching the child a particular skill, or it's helping the child develop a particular skill. That's why we call them learning materials. So if you get those toys, you think, this one is age appropriate, but it's so much. What you do, you just put fewer toys based on your goals per time. Maybe your goal for the month or your goal for the term. You pick the material that suits those goals, that will meet those goals in the life of your child, and display it in the shelf. The ones that are still good, are still age appropriate, but are not in line with the goal for the month, you keep out of sight. You keep away. So why do you do this? Because you want your child to focus all his attention on this particular material, so that the child will get the maximum benefit from it. The child will learn everything he needs to learn from the material. And apart from that, you will be able to know, you will easily identify the ones that your child is interested in and the ones that your child is not interested in. You will easily know the ones that he will want to have more and more of it, so you can look for a higher version when the child is done with the previous one he is using. That's why we encourage fewer toys for focus and to enable you for easy observation. You'll be able to observe and pick some things. You know what the child is learning and what the child is not learning. Peradventure, you see that your child is not touching a particular material, and you have another material that you keep out of reach that will still meet the same goal. You can keep this one and rotate it with the one that you kept out of sight for your child to work with, because it will still meet your goal for the month or for the term. So I guess you are following. So the next thing I will say is that encourage concentration. Concentration is a vital skill that every child must develop and strengthen. Why? Because it helps in their learning. It helps in learning in future, and even now, even adults need to concentrate. Children need to concentrate. So one of the ways we encourage concentration in Montessori is completion of activity. When I say completion of activity, it doesn't mean that the child must finish the work, must end the work that he or she has started. Let's say the child is working with a puzzle and the child has started, the child has not ended, the child is tired, the child don't want to continue. You don't have to force the child to complete that activity. However, you must ensure that the child completes the work cycle, what we call work cycle in Montessori, by returning the material to its initial state and taking it back to where he or she took it from, either the shelf or anywhere the child picked it from. Let me give you an example. If the child is working with the puzzle that I gave an example right now, and the child don't want to work, the child have to put the puzzle back into its frame. The child is not done working with it, so the child have to put it back into the frame and return it to the shelf. That is completion of work cycle. So the child doesn't have to finish the whole work. But if the child is fed up, the child don't have to leave it unattended to on the floor. Why? It builds concentration, one, and it creates orderliness in the environment, and it gives opportunity for others to work with that same material when the child is done with it. So leaving it unattended to, some piece might get missing, and the other child that will want to work with it might not have the opportunity to work with it, or it will cause disorderliness in the environment. That is why we ensure that children complete their work cycle, not necessarily completing the work. I hope you get the explanation. The next thing that we want to talk about is I would say, create routine and consistency. It's one key in the Montessori environment. Why do you have to do this? It will help you and your child to know what to expect, especially for the children. They know what to expect. So when When they wake up in the morning, they know that when you wake up in the morning, you have your devotion. After devotion, you take your bath, brush your teeth, and take breakfast. Then you read aloud, or you read by yourself, or you do your activities. Everything is lined up. So when you do that, the child knows, this is what I'm expecting. You make them feel confident, you make them feel secure, because they know what they are not just being anxious. So what is next today? What are we going to do today? They already know how the program is planned. And if you are consistent in it, it becomes an habit. When you don't do it, the children will call for it and say, Mommy, we have not read today. Mommy, we have not done school today. Mommy, we have not done structured learning, depending on how you planned your routine. But I must say that you must be flexible sometimes. Sometimes they might want to tweak the routine a little bit. Please let them do. That is why you are creative. That's why you are open-minded to this whole thing. So these are some of the primary components of the Montessori philosophy, or the Montessori method of teaching. I believe you have learned one or two things. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your contacts. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye.